Hey everyone, thanks for coming and hope you enjoyed lunch. So I think we'll get started. Right, so just a quick introduction. My name is Teng, or you can call me Shu. I'm a senior sales engineer here at Fastly APAC, and I think we're in DrupalCon Singapore for the first time. And we're very happy to be here and happy to meet all of you. We have a nice booth right by the entrance. If you haven't already dropped by, please do after the talk. And over the next couple of minutes, what we'll just do is a quick introduction of Fastly and give you a couple of reasons why you should consider or just try us out in front of your website or your application. And Fastly, if you haven't already heard of us, we are a pretty big name in the CDN world. And our mission is quite simple. It's empowering everybody to build faster, safer, and more engaging user experiences on the web, right? And to kind of give you some examples of that, I've prepared some slides just to kind of show you who we power or who we work with. And some of these companies are the most innovative companies on the internet as well. Right? And over the last couple of days, I've already spoken to some of you. And so I've also kind of prepared a couple of slides that are more specific to some of the countries that you guys have all flown in from. Right? So I won't spend too much time here. Maybe some of these logos you spot right away, or you recognize right away if they're from your country or you work business with them. So we have customers all around the world, including Australia and New Zealand as well. And typically they come from all different industries. There are some industries that we have a heavy focus on or we're really good in. But in general, as long as you're on the internet and you want your user experience to be good, your website to be safe, you can think of using Fastly. Right, here in APAC, we also have quite a number of logos. These are just the ones that allow us to share publicly, and including Japan as well. I think we have quite a few different people flying in for this conference, and we've met quite a few of them at our booth. So hopefully you recognize some of them, and we hope that your company or your organization will also be on this slide one day. So moving along just very quickly as well, Fastly is a very recognized company for our products. As you can see, it's not just the CDN, but also the WAF side. We're Customer's Choice 6 years in a row for our firewall. And I think this is the one that we're more proud of in terms of the customer value, network services. We have reports, we have blog posts. You can take a look at how we can achieve some ROIs for your organizations. We also have a very, very high score in terms of customer support. And that's something that is a big differentiator when your services are with Fastly. To be more specific, Drupal, Fastly is not a stranger to Drupal. This is the first year I think we're participating in DrupalCon Singapore, but we have been working with Drupal.org for a very long time. If I'm not mistaken, it's 2014. And so if you've ever gone to this site, downloaded packages, downloaded anything from this site, chances are you already use Fastly, either through one of the names of the companies that you've seen in the last few slides, or via Drupal. So what exactly does Fastly do? Right, Fastly has an edge cloud platform, but for those of you who may not be so familiar or use CDN all that much, I'm going to walk you through very, very quickly what makes Fastly special or different and how we do it better than everyone else. So the way we've built our network and the architecture of it, there's three big things that we want to focus on today. The first one is we do use a smarter architecture, and that means that with fewer POPs, but more powerful POPs, we're able to achieve better performance. And it's entirely software controlled, and that matters a lot when you have a dozen different tools, you're working with multiple vendors, or you have different services. You want to be able to consolidate your control. You want to be able to make sure everything can be controlled via an API, for example. It's also fully programmable. So unlike other CDNs or other services out there, we give you that control over how this works, how your CDN actually operates, how you want your traffic to be directed, and of course, it's extremely flexible as well. And this are some tidbits from our customers to kind of drive the point home, how we make it better in terms of performance, how we give that visibility, give that control back to you when you use Fastly. And the one of the key things over here that you see that may be a surprise to you is how fast we can invalidate your cache. So if today, your Drupal site, for example, is working on content that's very dynamic or very time sensitive, and you think that you can't cache this, with a 150 millisecond cache invalidation globally, now you can, right? Because the moment that data gets outdated or you need to update it, you can purge it and you don't need to wait for it to be expired, or you need to wait for it to be purged globally and worry that you're serving stale content, whether it's news, sports scores, anything of that nature. Right? And on top of that, we can also give you more granular control of your caching and your purging, which means that you're not always purging your entire cache, which obviously has cost and performance implication. You get much more fine-tuned control on what exactly you want to purge and how easy it is to control that. Another thing is the visibility aspect. So if today, and we've talked to some of you who provide services for an end customer, you're not the final user, this is going to matter a lot to you, which is the visibility part and the control part. You need to know what exactly is going through the network or the CDN. And so if something breaks, you know exactly what is happening, where it is happening, and what can you do about it. Right? And that matters a lot if you're actually also providing services downstream to another customer. If you're a developer, these are the things that will be more exciting to you, hopefully. It's also extremely programmable. We have a very powerful serverless compute platform. Right? Today it supports JavaScript, Go, as well as Rust. It uses WebAssembly. So if you have any kind of code or logic that you want to run at the edge closer to your users, whether it's authentication or maybe a simple lookup, you can consider serverless compute. And you can also try it out right now on our platform. So if you are more maybe from operations team or security team, and today your site doesn't have a firewall, well, the good news is Fastly also has it. Right? When you see smarter security here, we have a WAF, as well as the VCL just being that much more programmable allows you to put in a lot more security controls and tighter measures to secure your websites. And last but not least, I mentioned this before, the CSAT score that we have, it's extremely good. I think what you worry about or what you're concerned about typically when you use a service like CDN is what happens when things go wrong, or same thing with a firewall. You want to make sure that the vendor or someone like Fastly is able to support your team well, as well as you provide you very quick solves and answers in a timely manner. And so if we look at the whole Edge Cloud platform, there's going to be a couple of things that all come along in a single plane of control. Right? With Fastly delivery, you get all these amazing features, and whether it's a browser, mobile APIs, you get to deploy them and control them right away without having to change your backend or develop new programs or microservices on your backend. Right? Let Fastly do the heavy lifting for you. And on our platform, out of the box, it's going to come with all these amazing features, and including what I mentioned. Right? We have the capability of doing instant purging. We have what we call surrogate keys. So imagine if today you run an e-commerce website, or it's an election campaign, for example. Right? If you tag that content with a specific tag, when content gets changed or you need to update something, you're able to purge all the relevant content with a simple keyword or a couple of keywords. And that's all that we're going to purge. Everything else that hasn't changed, not relevant to the campaign, you can keep. Right? You don't have to purge everything and risk your origin being overwhelmed or incur more egress cost. So having control or fine-tuned control of your caching and having a cache invalidation strategy is very critical, and it's very important to the way you use and operate content on the internet. Another thing we have that is pretty unique to Fastly is what we call origin shield and request collapsing. So this is also a big concern for many companies nowadays. What happens when a news post goes viral, or you're doing a live stream event, right? Your origin might be doing scaling, it might be able to withstand quite a high number of traffic, but without something like origin shield and request collapsing, it may still suffer under heavy load or incur very high scaling cost if a flood of traffic comes in, all requesting for the same object. Right? Just bear in mind, in such situations, it might not be in cache yet, and if you don't have something like origin shielding or request collapsing, all those requests are going to hit your origin pretty much simultaneously. So with Fastly, we have something called origin shield and request collapsing, which allows us to protect the origin better, act as a pseudo origin even, just to make sure that whether you're serving globally, whether it's a viral event, a live event, we're able to protect your origin. And on top of that, we also have a secure edge platform. So today, one of the biggest challenges, or one of the things that maybe people who use the CMS might forget, is when you publish something or you start going online, how do you secure that? What plans do you have to put a firewall in front of it? What CDN are you going to choose to put in front of the CMS as well? right? And this is going to be increasingly important. I think starting next year, if you want to be PCI compliant, for example, or you want to be more compliant to some government policies or some regulations, they're going to ask that you put a firewall in front of your application or in front of your web app, regardless of where it is hosted, right? And if not, or if you want an easy way, I think Fastly can do that for you. So one of the benefits of also having a CDN is that we get to deploy our next generation web application firewall that comes with things like bot security, API security, app security, directly on the CDN layer. So we are able to block malicious requests right at the edge and get you started right away without you having to think about or worry about where you're going to install, maintain, operate this web application firewall. Right? I think long gone are the days of appliance-based firewalls where you might have to think about a thousand other factors or 100 other factors just to get started. Today you can spin something up maybe on Drupal, put Fastly in front of it, turn on the firewall, and you're ready to go. Right? And that's something that we hope that you try and hope that you think about in your next project or in the next project that you spin up. And we've talked about quite a few things, but Fastly does a lot more than that. But the idea here that I think we want to kind of leave you on also is that we have a lot of capabilities, not just a regular CDN. We have things like image optimization. We also do have a next-gen firewall. But the best thing about this is that it's all in a single platform. So you're controlling all of this in a single plane. You're managing it all on a single plane. And you can spin something like this up and put it in front of your origin in a matter of minutes. So there really isn't a reason anymore, even if it's a sandbox, a developer account, a developer environment, for you to ever publish something online and not be behind a proper CDN and one of the most advanced WAF on the market right now. Right? So a couple of months ago, we've also launched what we call a developer account. So if you go to like fastly.com/signup today, you just type in your details, you actually get access to a Fastly account that you can start using right away for your personal use, or if you want to use it as a trial for your company or for your organization, please go ahead. Many of the features that we discussed here today, it's a toggle away. No coding experience required. You don't have to talk to any of us. You can turn it on by yourself to try it for 90 days, or 30 days, sorry. But if you're interested, do reach out to us. We have a great team here in Singapore, in Japan, in Australia. We have sales offices there with more than 5, I think some of the offices have up to 15 people who can help you and answer your queries. We're very happy to also help you and assist you in testing things like our edge compute or just getting your services up and running properly on the Fastly platform. Right? And all of this, of course, if you're maybe more on the managerial side or you have a boss that you have to answer to, everything that we discussed today, we're trying to drive towards actual business outcomes for you and the team as well. Right? Just because we can cash more, what does that mean for you? What does that mean for your cost? We really do try to focus on driving that ROI for our users too, right? And you'll see that we have great features and products that help you to help enable that for us. So do drop by our booth outside, have a conversation with us. We are running some promotions as well. The year is ending, and that's not just for the CDN, but also for our firewall. So if you haven't thought about or explored what are some options you can use for that, you can check us out. Like I said, we have free developer accounts. Just sign up. The QR code is there. And I'll be outside for the rest of the day too. Just look for me. I'll be able to help you, or we can have a conversation on where does Fastly fit in your picture. Okay, so I don't want to take up all the time. And coming up next is Michael from Ironstar, who will talk to you a bit more about Ironstar and Fastly, how we work together, and a little bit more about Ironstar.
Thank you. I'm going to speak as a promoter, as a sponsor, rather than as an organizer. But as an organizer, really quickly, I just want to apologize to Teng and everybody else for leaving the chairs out here. I know that made his slides a little bit difficult to see. My slides, it won't be as important to see what they are, but I do just want to really quickly talk about the relationship that Ironstar has with Fastly, how thoroughly impressed we are with them as a partner and as a product. And just to emphasize again some of the stuff that Teng was talking about what makes Fastly such a great choice for Drupal sites. Just quickly on Ironstar, photo of our booth over there, which our team did not know was being taken, clearly. Next to the Fastly booth, we are partnering together on this event. Yes, Jimmy, you had no idea, I'm sorry, but there you are. So Ironstar differentiates itself from its competitors by focusing on incredibly high levels of support and service. We try never to be in the market of saying, well, the server's up, so your application must be the problem. Off you go and fix it. We work with our customers very, very closely to say, right, you've got a problem with your application. We've detected increased error rates or slow page loads or a spike or a dip in traffic that's anomalous. Let's get on a bridge. Let's work together to try and work that out. And that's part of what I think makes us very special and good at what we do and the customers that we work with. The clients that we do work with absolutely do need a really powerful content delivery network and WAF, which is why we're so happy to partner with Fastly on these sites. So as an example, just 3 examples of the sort of work that we do. First, we work with one of Australia's busiest airports, where it's incredibly important for us to understand their incident management procedures. If there's an incident on the runway or in the air, the website is one of the quickest ways for them to get the word out, and it can have very sudden and very large increases in traffic. So we make sure we have an infrastructure and team in place to help them through those incidents. We also work with Australia's largest sporting event. I can't say who, but if you can figure it out. This event sees over 1 million visitors over the course of about 3 weeks every year to the site, physical visitors, and on every single day of the tournament, millions and millions of visitors to the site. It's a truly global audience and is extremely sensitive to service disruptions because the website's used to deliver scoring information, schedule information, all in real time. So that site, more than anything else that we do, needs a CDN that can serve 98% of all requests at least from the edge, and it really benefits from things like fast purging at the edge and cache tag based invalidation. And we work with all levels of government as well, state, local and federal. Within Australia, we're the only Drupal hosting provider certified by the federal government under their hosting certification framework. And that's a really detailed process that takes months and months and months to go through an audit that basically gives us the green light to host classified government data for the Australian federal government. So for that sort of work, having a robust web application firewall platform that's very, very secure is of course key. So CDN and WAF capabilities are obviously critical to the kinds of work that we do for the clients that we work with. And we want that CDN to serve as much traffic as possible. And the Fastly cache tag invalidation feature is really critical to us being able to do that. I know many of you are Drupal developers. You will understand just how incredibly powerful Drupal's cache tagging system is. But if you're not familiar with it, it's an ability to be able to be very, very precise with what is cached and how it is invalidated. So for example, if you update a block and that block is used across multiple pages, the block is invalidated, but not necessarily all of the pages are invalidated, which allows you to make sure that if something is reused in multiple pages, you're not just being swarmed under those really, really high traffic scenarios. The alternative to cache tag-based invalidation is URL-based invalidation. And in that scenario, if you update a part of a page or a part of 10 pages, you have to invalidate the whole page. Unless you've got a really, really high traffic site, that's not a major issue, but it becomes sensitive if you've got time-sensitive updates and you're doing things like a config update. Config isn't tied to a URL, but it can be tied to a cache tag. So if you change config, you have to go and manually invalidate everything that might use that config. But if you use tags, it'll all be done for you. So just to wrap up, I wanted to leave you with this slide, which of course you can't see very well because we left the chairs up, but if you look to the left, you can get a bit of a closer look. And I think in terms of looking at a CDN solution that you want to use with your Drupal site, this slide to me really sums up what the advantage of Fastly is. You do get the cache tag purging out of the box. You don't have to pay any extra for it. It's the default thing. With Cloudflare and Akamai, you can get that, but it does cost quite a bit more to be able to have that ability. You can still do URL purging. You can do soft purging, which is The content is invalidated at the edge, and the next time it's requested, the stale version is served until the updated version is available, which is really, really powerful. Instant, less than 150 millisecond purging, as Shu-Ting mentioned. There is a developer platform that you can go in and check this out. And very importantly for Drupal, there is a provider-supported module. As far as I could tell beforehand, Fastly is the only CDN provider with a Drupal module that they maintain themselves and will work with you and help you in order to get the most out of that. Whereas every other module is community provided, and it can be slow on updates and slow on patches. So I would highly encourage you to drop by the Fastly booth and have a chat to them and learn a bit more about their platform. And if you'd like to know more about Ironstar and the work that we do on high traffic, high risk websites, of course the team would love to talk to you as well. Thanks for coming in. I hope you all enjoyed your lunch.